just change the workspace to modeling standard. Now this just clears a few of the menus out of the way that we won't be needing. Stuff like the timeline for it, like because we're not animating stuff like that. Then I want to add the image planes in. So just come down to the 4-panel view, and we'll go select the front one for this one, just to match the panel heads, make sure you got the right one. There he is. These are all in the asset files I've sent to you. So let's just place him. He's alright. I think he might need moving a bit, we'll come back to that. So let's just quickly add in the side view as well. It's actually facing the wrong way here. I like to be facing left, so he's kind of facing backwards there. So you can scale it out and change it, but just to get it precise, we'll go in the channel box there. I'll just change the scale X to -1 and it'll flip it for me. There's a few different ways to do that, but that's just one quick one. Now we'll just move them out because we're going to be modelling inside the grid there. So I want that clear space. And yeah, looks good. I'm going to save for now. We want to save each stage as we go, so if we make any mistakes, we'll just go back to a previous save file. Let's call this Baymax 1, something like that, part 1, version 1, whatever you like. We'll save that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, let's get started modeling Baymax. So I'm going to jump into the front view here, so just hit spacebar on the keyboard and I can jump between my different views, so front and side. I'm going to start off in the side view. If you've got the grid turned on still, you might want to turn that off, and there's just a few options here. And I'll make my first little cube, and I'm just going to open up that. And then we can make cubes in lots of different ways. You can do it from create polygons cube, or if you've got the polygon modeling shelf open, you can create a cube from there like I did. Or you can actually use the hotkeys, and you can come to create here, cube. Lots of different ways to make cubes. So I'm gonna just scale this up enough just so it roughly fits this kind of midsection. What I'm gonna do is actually split down the middle. So he's gonna got a central line here. So I'm just gonna open the channel box. Just gonna shut that for a second to give me some room. And one thing some people don't know is the input section, where you can actually modify your original cube that you've made. So you can make a normal cube for all of the different sides, but you can actually come in here and change the subdivisions, which is how many divisions are in the cube. For example, the width here, you just make that 2, and then we get all one down the middle. Likewise, you can make many different sections. So for example, let's just add a height in. If we look in the perspective view, you can see them all there, and you can see the depth as well. You can add one there too. So that's what we're going to start off with, and we're going to work with this as we go. Now you can start with any primitive or shape that you want with this. I just like to start with a cube. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually turn on symmetry as well, because with Baymax being a symmetrical character, I can speed up my workflow so much if I just turn on symmetry, and if I move this side, it will do the same that side. So let's just turn that on. There's a few ways we can do that. You can even do it in the tool settings, or there's a handy little option up here where we can go where it says symmetry off at the moment. So let's change that to Object X. I chose Object X because it's on the X axis across, so across here, and working like on the object. So the object is the cube, so it's the object's symmetrical values. There is stuff like world, which we don't actually need to. There's an option for topology as well, which can work, but I'm not too sure. But I know for definite Object X works great. So let's see now as I change this side, the other side changes too. I'm not going to worry if it doesn't actually perfectly match up symmetrical in all angles, but this is my front midsection looking pretty good. But I definitely need to go to look at the side view now. And I'll see that's not looking too good either. So let's do this. Just notice how I'm clicking and dragging over so that to ensure I select all the points across. If I just click one point, I'll miss out that middle one and it'll move without it. Just get a big belly sticking out. There we go. I might just move this a little bit forward to make it a bit more symmetrical, central. Okay, so let's take a look at what Baymax looks like in the perspective view now. So it looks very blocky at the moment. So the idea is I want to keep it as low polygon as possible, because I could add another one here. You can see it doesn't quite follow it here. Could be tempted to add another incision here, but when I press 3 it does round off, and we're going to actually, I'll show you a little bit later on how this is going to come and take shape. So in this angle here, I'm going to start to bring in these edges, and we're going to try and make Baymax as round as possible without actually adding any more divisions. You can see we can do a pretty good job of making them quite round without actually doing much. So that's all from one cube and a couple of cuts. See, it looks slightly different here in this view now. So all I've done is taken those edges and brought them in to kind of round out the belly. And this is going to help us now that we've done quite a lot of hard work here, getting the right shape. And now we're going to go into the face mode, hold down right click, face, and just shift select top faces. We're going to do our first extrude. Now, if you're unfamiliar with extruding, extrude is where we extend the polygons and kind of break out from the one we've got. So I'm going to hit the command. So this is command E, or in the modeling toolkit we've got the extrude button here. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to go for like an even, similar, it doesn't have to be perfect, but similar spacing as what I've got here. That looks about right. And then we're going to use this little zoom in here. We've got a little blue square, you can see. And we can use that to scale it in. Let's just do another one straight away, just to take it up near the neck. So, there we go. So I might just quickly, while I'm on, just do one at the bottom as well. Gets a bit more complicated at the bottom when we start to add the legs in, so we'll come back to that bit in a second. let's just have a look at the side view, because we haven't looked at it for a few minutes now, and you can see we're kind of off the model here. It kind of comes in a bit. Use these vertexes to bring in. Again, I'm not going to worry too much just yet about that, but quite a good shape here. Just going to follow that body a bit there. Now press 3 on the keyboard. See, we're starting to get this nice shape of this big round body. That's pretty good. So next we're going to have a look at how we can add the head in. So again, we're going to need to just grab the faces at the top. Extrude. This time we're going to extrude right in. I'm going a bit off the reference here. But I'll show you how we can change this after anyway. We'll start using the shortcut on the keyboard for Extrude now, which is Command E on the Mac or the Control E on a PC. So I'm just getting the shape of his head in there roughly. And one more should do it. And we'll take a look at what he looks like. Perspective view. Remember just to keep checking between 1 and 3, the 1 key and the 3 key on the keyboard. Gives you the smooth mesh subdivided view. The hard surface view. You can see here I've got a little bit I need to fix. See, I've kind of lost that roundness I was getting before, so I could go in the top view here and just have a little look at this. Make sure we get that rounded out a bit more. Take a look in the side view. Oh, it's going to look a bit off in the side view. So we can edit that out now. I should have really checked it earlier on. What we can do is select all the faces and tilt it a little bit. Maybe scaling down a bit. Just manipulating the vertexes to have a better look. Okay, here. Still look a bit square. We can see if we look from the top view, see why really. Just rounding that head out a bit more. So we made a really good start here. A little Baymax model. Let's just add a bit more detail just around here so we get that little like humped shoulder. So I'm going to use the multi-cut tool that's often found here. If we hold down Control, we'll get a loop. You can actually draw all the way around if you wanted to be more precise. But the easiest thing to do is just hold down Control, it makes a loop. So it goes all the way around. Which then allows us to get in the vertex mode again. Add that hump. Which then allows us to bring this down a little bit more. I'm always looking to not, where possible, add more edges in. I feel like I will have to add one in here. Okay, so that's probably part one, and in the next part we'll look at kind of finessing a bit more of his body, getting the shape in there, a few tweaks to the head, a bit rounder, and then we'll look at adding the arms and legs into it. So yeah, join me in the next part. Alright, so in this part we're gonna start to kind of finesse a bit of Baymax's body here and start to kind of round him out a bit more. He's still a bit blocky, and we start adding a few more divisions now to help us create the shape and get a bit more roundness on his head and stuff like that. So I'm going to add a couple of edge loops. So I'm going to hold down Control, make one there. Notice how it really doesn't kind of follow the flow of the topology. So a little tip that I didn't know for a long time is if you go into the multi-cut tool settings, you can actually check this box called edge flow. Now sometimes messes what you're trying to do up, but for this particular task it's going to help when I create a loop, just follow the edge flow. So I'm going to click that, and you can adjust the settings slightly, so it's like 1 is like full and you can make it half, but the default's fine. So I'm going to go over Control, and when I create it now, you'll see it just pops out there and follows the flow much better to show you. If you pay more attention to like these here from this angle, you'll see it follows the angle. If you hold down Shift as well, it snaps to the middle of the two edges here. I'll add another one here. Basically just going to double my edges here, so I don't need to do the back because they already went, and that will just give them a bit more kind of structure and substance now. Hold his own a bit more, and then what we can do is there's another set of tools within the mesh tools, and they are called sculpting tools. So I'm going to use the Sculpt Tools here. There's a number of different ones there where you can actually sculpt it out. So you can like depending on the strength that's turned on. Turn the strength way up, or the size. Sorry. Can sculpt them like that. But I'm just going to bring down the size a bit. See the strength. Could just like make sure his belly's nice and round out here a bit. But the main thing I want to do is just kind of smooth some of the spacing. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to choose a different one, which is the Relax tool. And what this does, it just kind of spaces out everything. We've done our best so far. What you can just see, if I just paint over here, just get that down, hold down the B key, and left click and drag to space it out. So it just nicely makes the flow of the polygons nice and spaced out, particularly going down. Just take a look at the side views here. I think I've gone a bit too far out when I did the sculpt in there, so it doesn't matter, I'll correct that in a minute. Looks good. I need to have a look at this head in particular, because this is a bit messed up, so you can see there's a lot of relaxation needs fixing here. Already you can see it's looking much nicer and rounder, not getting these horrible sticky out polygons. I could tweak them all day. I'm going to quickly move on though, just to show you. Looks a little less bumpy, there's a few lumps and bumps here still, but we'll do that in the final sculpt. Excuse me, towards the end. So now let's add his arms in. Now we need to pick the right excuse me, the right few polygons here, faces. So I'm going to choose, I need at least 4, so I'm going to choose these 4 here, and choosing 4 just is going to help us make the arm nice and round. I think I've got the right ones there, perfect. Just double check. So we're going to come out here and kind of extrude down to create his arm. First thing you're doing is going to hit the extrude tool. I'm going to go back into the press 1 on the keyboard to go in hard surface mode again. Always modeling hard surface. And I'm just going to scale that in slightly. And there's a really useful little tool in here. If you hold down Shift and hold right click, you get this marker menu come up. Oops. And you've got all these different things you can actually extrude through this and stuff, and bevel and things like that. Really useful. But what we want is to come down here to where it says Circularize Components. Circularize Components, and that's going to do exactly as you'd expect. It's turning circularize them. Now I'll have to modify this a bit myself. Just make sure. Pull it out a bit as well. So now it gives us a great head start for extruding the arm out, because the arm's quite round and stuff. So you notice the topology is a bit of a mess around it, so we can fix this, but instead of just trying to fix it like this, we want to follow the surface of the model. We don't want to like kind of end up moving it in by accident and messing it up even more. So what we can do is, if you come over to the transform constraint options in the modeling toolkit, you can put on surface slide, and then you can freely move it across the surface, and you don't lose any shape of the model, so then it allows me to move all this stuff around. Just neaten up the flow of the edges. One thing we're always looking at with modelling is edge flow. You can even double click these edges, straighten them up, and when I rotate them, it won't mess up the model. I can actually slide this around the surface without messing anything up. So let's select these first again. Now we're going to extrude, so this is going to be a bit tricky. Often when you'd character model, you'd be doing it in a T pose, but I'm going to do something a bit trickier today. By T pose I mean his arms would be out here by his sides. Just easier for rigging and stuff, but I'm not going to be rigging Baymax. Just doing a bit of a model tutorial today. Oops, so you can see I'm trying to extrude here, but it's stuck on the surface, so I'm going to have to turn the surface slide off now, so I can pull it out. So I'm going to extrude out just a little bit and then rotate almost immediately, because I've got a sharp turn I need to do here. I may have to scale this in a bit as well. And again, just now I can just go straight to the bottom, I think, almost anywhere, and then I can add the edges in after. Just do a quick rotation for the hand, like so. Let's add what was nice there, I've still got the edge flow turned on. See what we've got in the main view. Because obviously it's quite skinny arms there, but we're going to fix that now. So we come into the side view. Start to scale the width of his arm now. Looks like it extruded there by accident. You can delete an edge by just double clicking it, hold down Control and press delete. Or backspace on the keyboard. That looks pretty good. He's really starting to take shape now. Maybe take a look at the top of his arm here. Not quite following. I think that looks looking pretty good. Now you need to just scale this out. Turn surface slide back on for this. Gotta be careful, might have to just manually do it rather than doing the whole thing. Right, so we've managed to block out his arms there, and in the next step we'll start to add his legs in, and then we can really start to add the final little details onto him. Okay, so you can see here now we've added all the extra bits. I've created his legs and his fingers, and he's really starting to look like Baymax now. The final things I would need to do, the finishing touches, of just adding little holes for his eyes, and if I really wanted to start animating, I could add a rig from here, or we could also actually start adding some lights in and doing the rendering process to kind of get that final look of Baymax. And here we've got some nice wireframe topology here, and he's pretty much good to go. So as part of the modelling process goes, I'm pretty happy with this. Got some nice round form and shape. Yeah. Thanks for joining me for this. I hope you've kind of learnt something inspired, and hope to see you with us at the university at some time in the future. You can create some of your own amazing 3D models and creations. So thanks again. Bye bye.